What's good, everybody? Injured here, bringing you another in-depth guide, this time for Ruh Kaan. I hope you guys enjoy. Okay, so how's it going, everybody? And I hope you like this guide this time. Oops, I wasn't clicked into the window there. So I hope you guys enjoy this. Ruh Kaan is a really fun character, has some interesting mechanics, and can actually have a high mechanical skill gap, or depending upon how you're able to track your timing and everything. So as you saw right there, my weapon is now glowing, and that has it affects a few different things, mainly your M1 and your M2. So let's take a look at the M1. I'm actually going to take time to read this one just because of how he is a little bit different. So his attack deals 8 damage, but it deals 10 bonus damage and heals for 12 and inflicts curse when it is charged. And when it's glowing black is when it is charged. And what does curse do? Curse melee attacks deal 2 bonus damage and heals you for 6 health when striking a cursed target. So as you can see here, you attack, they get cursed, you do a little bit less damage per attack than you do while it's charged, and then you get healed for a little bit. And so you want to really learn to balance when what you're doing when you have a charged attack. You don't want to waste those. Those are very, very important, as curse is such a huge part of his kit, making sure you deal extra damage and heal a little bit. So his M2 has to do with his charge strike 2. Again, so we'll take a look at it. So Shadow Bolt, it launches a shadowy bolt of energy that deals 26 damage and 4 bonus damage if the weapon is charged. And so you say, well, 4 bonus damage, is that important? You know, 4 might not be that important, but every bit of damage helps. So it is good to try to use your M2 while you are charged. And so here it has a pretty significant range, as you can see. I would have gone even past that. Let me turn off cooldowns and infinite energy, sorry. And so let's take a look there. So it even hit that, which is pretty far range. So it's got really far range, it's got a bit of a windup, and it does pretty significant damage. It also has a pretty quick cooldown. So I almost said a slow cooldown, meaning that it was short, but that's not what I meant. Has a pretty quick cooldown, so you want to use your M2 as much as possible. So before I continue though, it's probably easy to think like, oh, he's a melee character, jump on people's face, and that's what you do. Kind of, no. He's very different in my opinion because his M2 is so strong. You want to play safe, use your M2, and then I'm going to actually go a little bit out of order and talk about his E, which is his grip. So his E has pretty decent range. As you see, it hits, it does damage, it heals you a little bit, and then it pulls the enemy to you. And so these two skills are so core to his kit that it makes him play almost like a ranged, but a range that then turns into a melee. And so in my opinion, these are the two things that you really want to work on. Learn to hit your M2, that is going to be huge. Look at that, that one even hit. And then make sure that you learn to hit your grip. It's going to help you heal a little bit, and it's going to help you put your damage out. It's going to make people use the repositions, etc. It's just so good. So next is his space. His space finally has iframes, which I thought was really important when he first came out. So he's got some iframes, so he can finally dodge some big damage stuff and some AoEs, etc. And he dashes a very short amount, but then does an AoE attack. So as you saw there, I hit him. I kind of landed on his right. We're going to land on the other side. You saw I hit. So it does a 360 damage. And this is a really good way for you to stay on top of targets who don't have escapes, or maybe just use their escapes. And it's a good way to dodge damage, as I said before. So now is his Q. So his Q puts out a little bit of a cone protection, a lot like Uldur. And you can see as it comes out there, and it consumes anything that comes in, melee or ranged. Now the thing about this is anytime you consume something, what it does here, I'm going to bring it over here so maybe it's a little bit easier to see. So it'll reset your, so as you see that, it reset it immediately, so it's right back to charged. So it resets your charged weapon. So what does that mean? What do you want to do? You want to use consume anytime you can to avoid damage, but you want to use it hopefully right after you've used your charge, or like one thing I will do, because the other thing it does, sorry, is if you do it, it resets your cooldown of your M2. So what you can do is you can like M2, you charge, you consume something, and this is where it's really important, because you don't want to wait the whole duration then and say, oh man, I hope I hit them, hope I hit them. You want to M2, oh, and boom, you catch something, hit C. C is so important, it's to cancel cast, and then immediately hit your M2 again. Really important part of his kit. Also, the other thing too is if you're in a melee fight, you're going to hit the melee, do big damage. Oh, you canceled, you're consumed. You're going to want to cancel it again right away, and then boom, right back at him. Hit him with another charge strike, and you're going to put out some very, very serious damage. So on to his R. His R does give him iframes again too. It's got a little bit of a longer cast than the space, so if you're not super good at dodging the big damage with the space, you can use the R. As you can see, you go underground, you come up, and you put curse on everybody. It doesn't do any damage, but it puts that curse and gives you the iframes, which is really, really important. So again, the curse, what that does is it lets you heal off them, and it does a little bit more damage when you auto attack them. I mainly use my R to gap close onto somebody that has nothing, like I know they have nothing and I just want to blow them up as much as I can, really put in high pressure, or if I'm trying to dodge a spell. I don't like you know, there's certain R skills that I think are like super, like Bako's R. It's like you want to use it all the time. I feel like just use it. It's so good. I don't feel that way with Ruh Kaan's R. Ruh Kaan's R to me is much more situational. So now alting. The ultimate is interesting. You're going to get 2 new skills on your M1 and your M2. So as you see, you alt, you now have a long ranged on your M2 grip, which hits. It doesn't pull as much as your normal E skill, but you can kind of chain it onto people. So I'll try to show that to you. That's going to die likely. So as you see, like I hit, and then just immediately kind of keep doing it. And that's what you're going to want to do and pull them, just continually pull them closer. If you can though, you want to pull them into melee range, and your melee range heals you and does damage. So it's really nice if the enemy ends up grouping up a little bit. So you alt, as you can see, it does kind of this AoE cleave damage. Look at that, so much, almost 180 degrees that it did there, and it just does so much damage, and you can heal up through so much damage too if the teammate or if the enemy end up stacking near you. So let's take a look at his EXs. First one is his space. His space to me is really crucial. It's something that people need to learn to use more, and so instead of diving, you're going to end up spinning in a tornado and doing damage around you, but it also heals you too. So you see all those maxes that were coming out there? That's because it was trying to heal me. And why is this skill so good? The skill is so good because there's so many people with counters. And so if you are in a tight like one-on-one or close one-on-one and you're concerned about being able to heal, but you don't want to hit the counter or something like that, use your EX space. You're going to damage through the counter, you're going to heal yourself up, and then when they're done, you're going to likely be able to silence, or not silence them, but curse them with that, do so much damage. Work it into your gameplay. It is so important to use your EX space when you're facing opponents with counter. Now your EXE, I don't see a lot of people using this, and this is so good. Part of the reason it's so good is because it doesn't hit enemies. I don't know if it's going to hit these dummies or not. My guess is no. Oh, it does hit them. Okay, that's weird. But it shouldn't hit those, but it doesn't hit enemies. Trust me on this one, it doesn't hit enemies. I want to see if this one's flagged as enemy. No, that one's not flagged as enemy. That's weird. But it doesn't. I promise you, it doesn't hit enemies. So you can pull your teammate out of a very precarious situation if they're getting tunneled hard. And you can too, maybe they're on the orb and you want to get the orb, but you know that if you normal grip, you're going to hit the enemy and not be able to pull the orb. Well, you just EX pull it, and you're going to pull it away and be able to guarantee yourself the orb. The EXE is so good because it also heals your teammates. So take like a Lucy, for example. She has almost no escapes. You know, if she doesn't have energy, she can be super hard to get away from the enemy. Use the EX grip, help her out, throw her a bone, pull her away from the enemy. The enemy's then going to have to use their escapes to try to continue on her, and then you get to kill them for free. It's really good. Try to work it into your play. You can end up winning a couple rounds because you decided to use your EXE. So let's talk about combos. The main combo is, and some of these are Battlerite dependent. No, they're not really Battlerite dependent, but the Battlerites make them way better. So the first one is you want to pull them in and immediately attack them to curse them. So that way you can start basically pounding on them. That's a big one. The other big one is you want to use your, like I said before, I kind of already covered this, is your M2Q cancel M2 if possible. So that is a really big one. As I said, you really want to play Ruh Kaan more as a ranged character, slightly passive, that as they come in, you punish them for coming in. And that is the best way to play Ruh Kaan in my opinion. You do not want to go all in on the melee. Another thing to keep in mind is when you have the proper Battlerites, you can kill this orb really quick. And I don't think I have enough now. It's with the Battlerites, yeah. And then you'd be able to space and kill that. And we'll talk about it now. Let's go into Battlerites where that would have killed. Remember, that has 4 health. So select Battlerite. Or did that not happen? Oh, there we go. Okay, so select Battlerites. So I think this one really depends on your gameplay, but I do think that the Silence is probably the best one. I think that the Shadow Fury is actually probably the weakest one, but I actually don't think it's terrible. I think it can be good because, again, if you M2, Q, cancel, you can then M2, M2 and do some pretty serious damage. But I just think that the Silence and the Demonic Hunt, which you get another space, is a little bit stronger and brings a little bit more additional help to your kit. But I typically go for the Silence, because part of the reason I get the Silence is then when I grip them in and I hit them and I silence them, they're going to take a couple more auto attacks and be forced to take damage. So I often get Agony, which is the Shadow Bolt deals 6 bonus damage. Now look at that orb. The orb had 4 health. So that means you could Shadow Bolt and then space in and kill the orb immediately, meaning it's easier for you to guarantee the orb when you're by yourself. The Leech Blade is Charged Blade, heals you for 6 bonus health. I just don't think that one's as good. It doesn't happen as often. And then Landing Claw of the Wicked reduces its cooldown by 3 seconds. I do think that this one could be used and could be pretty effective. However, I just like the bonus damage because, again, as I said, I'm going to play as more of like a ranged character, and then when you come in, I'm going to try to punish you for coming in, or like when I pull you in, I'm going to punish you that. So I want more damage on my M2. So next, Claw of the Wicked inflicts a 1.2 second root. Or Nether Chains, which is Sinister Strike inflicts Curse. So what that means is your space will give Curse to the target hit. And then Consume, the cooldown is reduced by 1 second. Consuming attacks further reduce the cooldown. So making your cooldown basically come up faster. But in my opinion, a lot of what we're doing is we're canceling our Consume to put out more damage. So this one's actually counter to what we're trying to do. So it's between these two. I see a lot of people getting the root one, but I think it's kind of silly. Like you pull them in, you root them, and then you silence them, and then they're basically sitting there silenced and rooted, which is okay. Like Jade does that, you know, where she can silence and root, and it's kind of okay. But they're already in melee range, so I feel like, okay, yeah, it's mostly good. That's kind of how I feel. And I think that this one is mostly pretty good too, because the other thing that is nice about this is as you're pursuing enemies, it's going to keep Curse on them, which means you're going to be able to heal more, which means you're going to damage more. And I get torn between the two of these, and I kind of end up defaulting to Death's Embrace, but I do think that Nether Chains can be quite good. So this next one is really up for debate. I think a lot of people get different ones depending upon their playstyle. I think the 20% faster is kind of okay. I think it's 8 seconds it takes. Let me look here. Yeah, 8-second charge time. So 20% off of that is what, 2 seconds? So it takes 6 seconds to charge. I don't know. That is significant, right? Oh no, it's not 20. That'd be 25% off. So it'd be like 1.6 seconds off. So it would be 6.4 seconds is what it takes to charge. And so, yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. The cursed enemies take 15% more damage. Okay, well, that's getting better. I think that one could be used. And then the cursed heals you for 2 additional health. I personally like this one, but I know my friend who plays Ruh Kaan a lot. He ends up getting the deal extra damage. And he's actually better at Ruh Kaan than I am. So I would say that one just based off that. But I feel more comfortable healing a little bit more. In my opinion, this one is not even debatable. you are going to get hunger, which pulls enemies in. It's actually a fairly large range that you're pulling people in, so make sure that you grab this one because it actually makes a pretty big difference. And to pull them in for that melee range like I talked about before, so that we can get the cleave damage. So I hope you guys end up liking this clip that I show you of me playing, and I hope it helps you understand his kit just a little bit more. Alright guys, so here is some gameplay here from Ruh Kaan. As you see, I come in, I'm able to hit an early M2 by dodging the old duel or absorb. I hit my grip and just miss the silence, try to continue the pressure and quickly fall back so that way not to overextend. I get the recharge there with one of the bullets, hit the M2 again, and already we got some pretty decent damage into Jade. I hit the grip into the silence, we get a good combo onto old duel, reset. I do take a lot of damage there, and I change focus to hit the M2 onto the middle orb. Come in, putting some pressure, get the silence. She's going to leap away. Again, I am able to hit a grip, putting in some counter pressure again. Hit my M2. Her ult misses. I decide to ult and keep some pressure on her, but we are not going to be able to get some big follow-up damage as I get petrified. My ult is done now. My teammate gets cleaned up, which is unfortunate. Hit a grip, though. Hit those auto attacks, healing up a little bit. Dash into a little bit of damage. I see that I hit her with the M2, and I take out Jade, and I'm able to take that middle orb, so that was really big for me there. And now you see me playing kind of safe. And I get that M2 bait there to get his absorb down, but I end up missing the M2 eventually. It was a bummer, picking up some health, come in, put in some pressure. You're going to see me fall back here again. Going to use the ultimate and try to grab that ultimate orb. However, I didn't realize that I grabbed it at full health and wasted it, so that's kind of a bummer. Get a little bit of damage there with my M2 with my ultimate. Grab the middle orb again with my non-ultimate M2, which is absolutely huge. Come in, goes over to get the health, not able to get my consume recharge, so I just hit with the grip, avoid the time bender, which is huge, and gives me the opportunity to hit the M2. Now high pressure coming out, gonna get petrified, and we're gonna play the slow game here a little bit. Get that grip, trying to use my EX space. I thought it was there, but it is not. I get my consume, use my EX space again, able to put in some pressure, and I think he got the middle orb there, but continue to put in pressure. There's the M2 to get him down low. The time bender is going to be down. I know this is going to be a great opportunity to get the kill. Trying to chakra him down. There's the space. There's the auto attack, and there's the kill. So remember, play it safe, play it slow, and use your range to your advantage. And when they come into that melee, blow them up, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching this, guys, as I go back to my other part of the video. Alright guys, well I hope you enjoyed that. As I said, I had a lot of fun making this video. I am almost done with all the heroes, which is super cool, and I hope you guys are able to learn a little bit about it. If you have any questions or concerns about the video, leave them in a comment. If you have any ideas of future videos that you would like to see, please let me know. I did get one recently, and I'm thinking about starting a new series, but continue to let me know what you guys are hoping to see and what you want to learn about the game, and I will continue to try to bring as much content to you. So really appreciate it, guys. Hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining the most positive place in gaming. Peace.